And we're live. Hey, gang. Welcome to Ghosts of Bacon, episode 55. And I'm your host, Jake Roberts. And I've been looking forward to this podcast, this specific one, for almost a year. A lot of you don't know this guy. He's a friend. He's a member of the Ghosts of Bacon early on, one of the early adopters of my nonsense. And over the years, I mean, we over the last year, we've had a lot of really good conversations, and he's shared some of the stuff that he's going to be sharing with you tonight with me a while ago, and it's just kind of been sitting here in the back burner, and I can't wait to see your reaction to my friend Curtwood Bixson. Um, he's an author. He's written a couple of children's books that I think that if you have kids, I think you want to pick it up. And I'm hoping he's going to be able to pitch that to you here in a little bit. But let's bring in Curtwood Bixson. How we doing,
Hey,
Curtis?
good buddy. How are you?
Doing great.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could hear, you were in the back room there.
Yeah.
But I've been looking forward to this for a year since you showed me, some of the stuff you've been doing.
Sure.
And super excited about this. And looking at, we got some of the usual suspects here in the chat, and it's funny because, here you are, a guest on the show, and, you're usually, there in the chat.
Chiming in,
yeah, chiming in, making great comments and giving commentary and awesome observations. And so, if you would just kind of do like a little, Curtwood Bixson intro of
Sure.
yourself. I just mentioned, you're an author too. We
all have to be, don't we?
Apparently. So go ahead, give us a little information about yourself and
Sure.
how did you fall into, this Baconian nonsense.
Yeah. So I obviously Oak Island fan going way back, and I'm an antique guy. I love old stuff, so history is really cool, and especially a treasure hunt. Who doesn't like a treasure hunt?
Right.
And so through Oak Island, I met Chris Dona.
Yeah.
And I chatted with him a bit about some things that I was finding, and he kind of pointed me your direction. And it took me quite a while to finally push the button and understand what Francis Bacon was all about. And you've definitely educated me on a lot of things. And I mean, Francis Bacon almost is a treasure hunt himself. The depths of everything and every way it goes it's mind-boggling, to be honest with you.
It is.
Some of the things you talk about on here, I don't even know what you guys are going on about. Some of it is real deep.
We get that a lot. We get that a lot.
Yeah. That's why I said I'm a kindergarten baconeer, because I'm just looking at the simple stuff on the surface. And like you said, I found some things and some stuff kind of came to me, really. More or less it found me. It's kind of weird how it comes. I'm sure you know that too, that feeling.
I do. And, it's funny you say that because, a lot of times I lose the tree for the forest. Like a lot of people say they lose, the forest for the trees. But I get so involved in the big picture that, the stuff that you shared, I'm like,
there it is.
It's right there.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's so good. And so, I don't know. It's like, I'm really excited to have you share, all of this stuff with our viewers. And you mentioned, my dear friend, Chris Dona. I look back and I'm thinking of, the different people that, Chris touched and talked to and brought into the Oak Island mystery. You brought in myself, Dan Spino. I see you here. Jason Mercer. He brought in Chris Morford. Who's been on the show multiple times. And so having worked with all these people and shared our research and information,
Yeah.
it just grows and grows. And one of the things I've done on this podcast, I've talked about my Oak Island research a little bit, and how I kind of stopped doing Oak Island research, but it
Mhm.
just keeps sucking me in, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything kind of like circles back.
I think you're at the root of the equation anyways, so
Yeah.
it's getting to the heart of the matter, really, it feels.
And when you have this many, and our friend John Edwards, says the same thing. It's like when you have this many people coming up with the same exact answer
Mhm.
time and time
William and
again.
everything, yeah. I remember when William started posting his stuff on the group, and go, what's this William guy? What's this stuff he's
Oh,
posting? And he's just kind of putting it out there, and everyone, and then yeah, William's seeing all this stuff and putting it
Will, what the thing I love about Will is that, he's very candid, and it's like
together.
he's a, definitely a, you know, the same sort of spirit
Yeah,
where he's like, this guy, he's talking online and he sounds crazy, but he definitely believes it,
yeah,
and he challenged the viewers. It's like, and this is one of my podcasts. He just happened to catch, and he said, and I made the comment. I said, "Hey, listen," I said, "You don't believe me? I know everything I'm saying sounds absolutely
yeah.
it's crazy, but check it out for yourself. If you don't
Mhm.
believe me, go ahead and do your own evaluation, see what you find."
That's right.
And so he did. He took up the challenge, and he discovered that, like, oh my gosh, everything he says is tracking with what
Mhm.
he did. And so it's kind of cool, the way that all of us have kind of fallen into this,
Yeah,
and we keep comparing notes. Next thing we know, it's like repeatability.
yeah, and
Repeatability.
it's validating everything you
Validated.
found. Yeah,
Yeah. So listen, why don't you go ahead, and I'll let you kind of take over the
sure.
show if you're ready, and show everybody here, everything that you've kind of uncovered, because I think people's minds are about to be blown.
Yeah, sure. So I guess through your research, you're talking about how you have found that Champlain is actually bacon. It was one of his favorite aliases.
Yeah.
Um, Stumbling on what he said, if you want to see about the books I've written, see my lifeboats. And and this self-portrait of I guess they call it a self-portrait. It's not really one, but it's I'll just hold up the paper. This image with the canoes, but they're actually lifeboats. They're not canoes.
They don't look like canoes at all. When you
No,
zoom in on them, they look like,
I could get that up here. I think right. What do? Present
yeah, click on present,
and share screen.
share screen, and then you pull up the image and you should be good. Yeah. But that whole message of, if see lifeboats, and here you have a bunch of canoes that have no paddles, and they're shaped like more like lifeboats that you would see, you know,
Is
uh,
that sharing, Jake? I can't see you.
nope, click on share. You're gonna have to actually click on the picture of the screen when it pops up. When you click on share screen,
Mm-hmm.
now click on the picture of the screen.
All right, there it is.
There you go. It'll highlight it.
No, it's not working.
So you click on present, and then share screen. And then when you do that, you'll have a list across the top where it says Chrome tab, window, or entire screen. Click on it.
Choose what you want to share with StreamYard.
Yep.
Chrome tab, yeah.
Entire screen on the right side.
Okay, yeah.
Click on that. And then actually click on the picture of your screen that is there, and it will highlight it. There you go. And then you click share. There it is. All right. I'm going to add it to the stage, and I'm going to pull myself out. And
Can you see that then? Okay. I can't see both at the same time.
Yeah, that's the problem with sharing screen. It's like when
I got you.
when you pop out, it's like when you clicked on the
I
tab.
gotta do it from in here then?
Yeah, yeah. Just click on your picture that you want to show us.
It's not working for me, buddy.
Well, you had it, but then you clicked over to.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, move your mouse up.
Up there?
You're not gonna be. Yep, you're not gonna be able to see us. There it is.
Oh, okay. I don't see it.
Now you're showing the picture. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
You're good.
So this is the image. Will it open up or no? Can you still see that?
Yeah, perfect.
So I was looking at this image and something came to me about just how the Indians on the left of Champlain in the middle with the rifle and the Indians on the right, I mean, they look like the same tribe. I mean, there's no descriptive difference between their Indian headdress or warrior uniforms. And it was kind of blurred together. And I thought it was kind of funny. We can see on the right with the little tail that I kind of recognized as Oak Island's little elephant trunk tail. And you can see a faint line. Jake showed us bacon in the water. BACON. There's a faint line here, Jake. I don't know if you can see it. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah. If you go back to the image, the first time you pointed it out to me, I had never noticed that line before.
Yeah.
And sure enough, gang, it's like when you look at this image,
right on your A in the water there, Jake.
Yeah, right on the A.
And it actually goes up to A in the light. So we got A in the dark in the water, and we've got an A in the light as the tree trunk.
Right. And so gang, if you go to Wikimedia images, you're going to be able to find this. And, if you've seen my research, there it spells out bacon. But what Curtis has done is he was able to find 2 points, one in the water and one in the trees.
Yeah. And I just folded away. I don't know how I'm going to do this live, but I'm going to fold this one that I have. And I'll have to show you with the camera. I was wondering how we were going to do this.
I know, me too.
We don't have the technology. So I folded on that line, A to A, the faint line. I folded it. And
right.
Then I had been thinking about
watching. Sorry to interrupt, Curtis, but
yeah,
people watching. It's like you have to remember that this was a page in a book that was a fold out, and so what Curtis did was he actually saw a line in the image where it had been folded before, and so it lined up with those key points that I had pointed out in my research, and I had totally missed this fold line. And so here's the part I love, Curtis, is like is that you intimated to me that it reminded you of a Mad Magazine fold in.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's not that Mad Magazine's the inspiration for it, but Al Jaffe, the artist who used to do the Mad Magazine fold-ins, had his inspiration in this type of tradition in artwork that dates back, to the 1500s.
Wow.
And so the fact that you saw that, the line that it suggested, and then actually we're able to align it, I think that's cool.
Yeah, it was. So we spend all this time just playing around, and you just see things. Like I said, the tribe on the left and the tribe on the right kind of blurred together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to try to.
Here, let me
Back.
remove that picture, and I'm gonna make you big. I'm gonna pull myself out. You won't be able to hear me, but
Okay.
it'll make you full screen so you can show people what you did.
I can't say it. So the line that we were talking of is right here. And I recognize the shape of Oak Island, the tip of the island here with the elephant trunk, as a lot of people reference to an elephant. And the crease in the original book is here. So I folded to it at first. It's kind of not perfect, but neither is the drawing. And it's like, okay, well, what's he hinting to here? But you can kind of make out our favorite island, and there's actually a triangle or swamp, and the chief is laying down. Where the hell's my finger? There it is. In the swamp, which is kind of neat. And then I folded from the center over, I believe. You kind of do a double fold so the tree melts together. It's a bit tighter. It's not exactly the shape of Oak Island, obviously, but it definitely has a unique shape to it that we all have seen before. And when we fold it like this, the A on the tree trunk goes from A in the light to an A in the dark. There's the A in the light. And then when we fold it, it actually shows off an A in the dark. So that was kind of, oh, well, that's kind of verifying. So I guess after I did that, Jake, I mumbled to you in the video that I said, this kind of looks like the man in the moon to me. I don't know what's going on with this circle. Where's my finger here? But this face here in the circle, my imagination sees an eye and a nose and a mouth in this. And I don't know what this circle is about. It doesn't really make any sense what this pig pen is here, but maybe it is just a pig pen cipher, actually, isn't it? So we've got an eye and a nose and a mouth, if you ask me. So
I love it.
mentioned that to you. And
Well, you know, that's awesome. And the fact the man in the moon.
yeah.
Well, I mean that deals with my research that's coming out in my next book, which a lot of it centers around the aliases of Sir Francis Bacon, but also some very interesting information about Sir Walter Raleigh. And he's identified with the moon for a whole variety of reasons. And I can place him on Oak Island with my research. Wow. So the fact that it's like, I haven't told you this, I haven't told anyone else this. This is the first time I'm actually, revealing this information. It's here on the show.
I was going to say, make sure I don't say anything. If there's nothing I should say, tell me now.
Just, go ahead and share what you have, man. It's like that, we're unscripted here. There's no filter. Yeah. And I mean, on the one hand, it's like, I know that, like you mentioned, Will Russell, Jason Mercer, John, of course, they know the stuff that I'm about to reveal next month. I haven't shared it with you yet, but I will. And when I do, I think you're really going to be pretty excited about your discovery, because it validates what you just showed everyone here on the podcast. And it's pretty exciting. That was cool.
Yeah.
So
basically I sent you that, and then I went and Googled man on the moon, man on the moon, and I just type in 1638 because that's a good year for all this stuff. So
it is. Yeah.
And I came upon Domingo Gonzalez's book, and clearly immediately the images of the cover of the book, I see very similar woodcut illustration that we've seen before. And you told me, Domingo Gonzalez is a pen name.
Yeah, and in the artwork, when you see the artwork and you compare it,
it's the exact same
hand.
The waves in the water and a lot of the Bacon books, and then this the the clouds in the sky of the one image of the man on the moon.
Yeah, the clouds in the sky and the waves in the water, that was confirmed by a local professor friend of
Mhm.
mine at the local college, and she said that, when she compared all of that, she was sure she would only commit to about 87% surety that it
Mhm.
was done by the same hand, and the only reason she wouldn't go 100% was that, she couldn't look they were digital images, and she couldn't see the, original images.
Right, right.
For me, that was a huge.
Did I guess you've got a copy of the man in the moon, but the original copies are probably hard to find.
Exactly, and at this point, a lot of this stuff is,
Gone.
gone.
It's
Yeah,
400 years ago, right? So
yeah. So, I'm gonna go back and look at some of the, comments,
yeah.
oh, yeah, Daniel, it's like, we all miss Chris very, very much. That was a huge loss to Oak Island research and as a friend and a valuable resource.
Mhm.
Uh, he and I should be working together in the classroom today. And, yeah, I miss him very much. And yeah, Penn, you're absolutely right. He brought so many of us together,
Yeah.
and pulled so many of us into this stupid rabbit hole. It was so funny. My first uh, Oak Island War Room. First thing Rick does is he asks you how did you start getting into this, and I said, well, honestly, Rick, I blame Chris Stona. And of course, Chris is there in the war room with we all started laughing. I said, no, I blame him because I can't get away from it now. It's like,
Mhm.
for sure, he was a treasure. Um, just kind of scrolling through. Yeah, Amy, always with good observations. Funny how this makes all of us study every line or stroke of a drawing in this style now. Amy, it's like when we do these presentations on this podcast, uh, once you start seeing that style, the Rosy Cross, the images just pop out. You can see it. You can see the symbolism. You can see the same pen strokes, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, they definitely are unique to the look. It pops off the page, and now that you know what you're looking for, you can see it.
Yep. Yep. And he says it's definitely the island. Amy comments it's reminiscent of Oak Island for that shape for sure when you fold it.
Cool. Yeah.
Um, and it's like, other people can see it once you do it. AO, I'm not a stupid person, but did we just see a folded picture that folded into a near perfect picture? AO, that's kind of, Curtis's point here, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Daniel, I think you're right. They were conducting the experiments in what they considered to be the New Atlantis. My research has led me to believe that the Maritimes, specifically New France and New England, were Bacon's New Atlantis. 100%. Here we have a veteran Baconian, Jason, saying, "Wow." You were talking about you being a kindergarten Baconian, but no, it's like kind of veteran said, "Wow, you just blew his mind." Um, um, John's asking a great question. Is the image consistent with other Bacon-related frontispieces? That particular image, John, no, it's not. Uh, they're uh, the frontispieces always have a great deal of symmetry.
Mhm.
And this particular image, it wasn't a frontispiece, and so it was an illustration of his battle with the Iroquois, and so to that end, and people who are fans of the show and have read my work know that I've analyzed that image and pointed out the palm trees in the background with the
Yeah.
trees in the bark, that sort of thing. I think that image in particular, John, is actually just a really complex cryptogram.
There's more going on here still. Yeah.
And Jason is spot on. No image exists of Champlain in a self-portrait. It's
Mhm.
very convenient. Well,
Yeah.
and that particular image that Curtis just showed us is always listed as the
So,
only known self-portrait,
yeah.
right? Right, Kurt?
Yeah. And no one knows where Champlain's tomb is. His actual remains, no one knows where his tomb is.
Yeah.
So it's funny how such a famous guy has an unknown burial spot.
He has an unknown burial spot, just like so many others, and he has an unknown origin. You go back in history, and whenever you read a biography of Samuel de Champlain, just like every other Bacon and Raleigh alias, it always starts in the same way. Not much is known about the
Mhm.
early childhood or the early life of so
Mm.
and so. In
It's
this
pretty
case,
cool. You're in New York and I'm in Ontario, and obviously Champlain was all over these parts. And
yeah,
to know now that it was Bacon, I go up 11 from my parents up to home in Huntsville, and I'm like, yeah, he was probably here. And there was a big Champlain monument statue right at the top of Lake Simcoe in Couchiching, where he spent winters with the Iroquois. And it's like, yeah, it's all happening right around us here. It's kind of cool. And that might bring me to our next. We found online a mystery Champlain stone. Maybe we could talk about that.
I think we should move on to that. It's a
Yeah.
perfect segue because it's like this. I wanted you to lead with the picture because it's like people are like, "Holy crap! Yeah, I can see, I can see
Mhm.
it. I can see the island." But where you and I live,
Mhm.
even though we have an international border between us, or back then, it was the same area.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
It's like we're a part of the same colony
Yeah.
in real, very real aspects. You
Mhm.
look at Champlain's travels. He actually traveled down into Lake Ontario and put in very near where I grew up, and then traveled south down to close to where Syracuse is now,
Mhm.
just north of Syracuse, and that's where he had the big battle with another big battle with the Iroquois, where he took an arrow to the knee, uh,
Mhm.
reportedly.
Yeah.
And then he, actually wintered up with, the natives in the area, and then he was able to make his way back, which means, he traveled right through, an area that's very close to my hometown. And so, like you said, we're traveling around and we're driving around these areas, and just like you, I'm like,
See it everywhere.
this is where Bacon was,
Yeah.
which I think is really, really cool. Why don't
Yeah.
you go ahead and take us into your next piece because
Well,
this
I kind of want to talk about the habitation. Am I still sharing the screen?
yep, I can throw it up there right now.
So we chatted about this. Am I sharing it?
There it is. As soon as you click on whatever tab you want,
Okay.
there you go.
Remember this one, Jake?
Oh, I do. It's in my book.
So I got to find the better image of it. I think this one is the one I want.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the higher res. Yeah.
Are you seeing that?
Yep. And go ahead and click on it again, man. It's going to make it bigger.
There you go.
There you go.
So we were chatting about this. This was up in the top of one of your maps, Champlain maps we were looking at. And I'm looking at this drawing and I'm going, at first glance, you look at it and you go, okay, they didn't really know how to draw very good back then, or whatever you might come to. But
Right.
looking at these angles and looking at especially the entrance, I don't know if you see the four in the center, the little trail from four going up into the house or whatnot.
Yeah,
Then
I've
you got
studied this
LMN.
intently. Yeah, I know this image really well. And
There's
if you start pointing out the angles, I mean, this is really, really telling. So
yeah.
go ahead.
Jason Mercer can have a heyday on this picture here.
For sure.
So in that we've got a double end. You got the two cannons there and the walkway into the door. And you got this extra like weird, like what's going on here? So I think I turned this image around, which I don't have the technology here to do that. I don't know how we can do that. How do we do that?
I don't know.
I'll have to print it.
Unless you like copy it and then reverse it, you know. Yeah.
But I think what we kind of came to, or just, you know, talked about, was when this image is flipped upside down, it kind of looks like it could possibly be something like the offset chamber on the Great Pyramid, or the math or the angles involved in something about that. Remember that?
Yes, I remember our
I
conversation.
think it was upside down when we did it, obviously, but
Yeah.
there's a lot going on here. I don't know. This image just really doesn't, you know, there's more going on as everything else.
There's so many messages in that image. Throw that back up there, would you mind?
Okay.
Um, so when we look at this, gang, it's like when you consider what's called a pictorial cipher, for example,
Mhm.
we look at this and there are three cannons, you know, that are
Mhm.
firing. All three of them are firing
Right.
as if they're in battle. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's drawing our attention to it, right? Well, you know, when you calculate the value of the word cannon, and this is how pictorial ciphers work, you look at the image, and this is going back to the Pythagorean, um, um, you know, idea that everything can be reduced in numbers. Okay.
Mhm.
And so this is something that Bacon really loved doing. We had three cannons. They're all firing, drawing our attention to them. You calculate the value of the word cannon in simple cipher, and it equals 57. That's the triple tau. That's Bacon.
Mhm.
Um, and multiply it times 3. 57 times 3 is 171. That's the value of the name Francis in K cipher. And so when you look at the misspelling of Quebec in
Yeah.
the upper left, again, it's Francois, Francois in, you know, simple reverse and K ciphers. So we have Francois the Third. This is the habitation of King Francois the Third. He
Mhm.
was really trying to create his own fiefdom or fiefdom here, you know, here in the Americas. And so he was the king of New France at this point. Um, and so there, and that's just the tip of the iceberg of the ciphers
Oh yeah.
in this image. And so, and you look at like what Kurt was just talking about, gang. When we look at, you know, these angles,
A
look
mess of layers there. Yeah.
layers and layers and layers of the angles. You know, the angles over to the right, and the mistakes in perspective, for example, over on the right hand side. Um, these mistakes in perspective, mistakes, I say, are clues. And then when you
Mhm.
measure those angles, they're 33, they're 67. You know, it's like it's Francis Bacon.
Yeah.
And then what you just zoomed in on
Yeah.
earlier,
This
Kurt,
is the part that's really just like, what's going on here? There's a
that that's
million.
that's very similar to what what you and I were talking about in the Great Pyramid of Giza, which I
Mhm.
found just mind blowing. It's like, how would he think of incorporating something like that into this?
Why? Yeah. And then
Why?
we got
Why?
different fonts for the G on the left, and then we
Yeah.
got the, look at all the G's, 4 G's. Of why do we have? There's five, right? Why do we have all these G's? What's really going
Well,
on?
when you calculate their values in, say, fourfold cipher, gang, uses multiple letters, you know, multiple instances of
Right,
the same
right,
letter,
right.
which
Four
create
G's equals, yeah, or five,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. And so when you calculate those values, once again, you know, you have Bacon saying, "Hi, I'm here. This is my name,"
Hmm.
all over this image. It's so
Mhm.
cool. It's so cool.
So maybe we'll go to the. So with your Champlain discoveries, I read a bit of, I watched YouTube videos about Champlain, like kind of while I was working, and where he was and whatnot. And Cheneau Dam is actually where my uncle Fritz worked, and we grew up camping there. And here he traveled Champlain 400 years ago, travels up, and he's got a portage around this. And
Yep.
I think I just Googled Champlain mystery, and I came up with this Champlain stone with, I believe it was June 7th, 1613, and we know that June is the 6th month and 7th is 7, and that's 67.
67. Yeah.
And it was
Good catch. That's really good.
it was thought to be a hoax because in French they would put 7 June 1613. But this is Francis telling us, so it was written off as a hoax, right? Because the French write June 7 or 7 June. And so 2 farmers found this stone in 1958. I got to figure out the internet here now, Jake. How am I going to do it? Let's go to the.
You kill me, man. Well, you know what? But on the flip side, though, 6-7, and my next book, I'm going to make this clear of why this is important. But 76 is the reverse cipher value of the name Walter, as in Walter Raleigh. Okay, these guys were so interconnected in what they were doing. Walter Raleigh was the central figure of Francis Bacon's Rosy Cross, and
Really?
yeah, and it's like, and I'm saying this now for the first time publicly, but his role is just as big as Francis Bacon's, and that's something that's coming out soon in my next book. And here you have again Jason Mercer, right on top of it, June 7th, 67. Yeah, you get it. But if it was the 7th of June, then it's 76, and therefore this date represents both of these characters in simple and reverse cipher. Okay, which is much like the A in the light and A in the shadow. Okay, that's as much as I can share at this point without providing all my corroborating evidence. But these guys one was in the light, one was in the shadow. And so June 7th would represent both of them in that way, for sure. That's such a cool catch, man.
Well, I've also right in Huntsville, where I live, up at the lookout.
Yep.
There's rock carvings, and it's a nice big high lookout. And I've got M. Kenyon, June 7th, and it says 99, and it's not 1999.
No, it's not.
And it says June in a nice script. It says June 7th, so I'm freaking out all over here. M. Kenyon, M. Kenyon.
And why? How's that spelled again?
M. Ken, like N as in and then YON. Kenyon.
Interesting.
It looks old as dirt, but it's hard to tell how old rock carvings are. I looked into it. It's very hard to date them.
Oh, it is. And the only person who claims to be able to do that is Scott Walter, to be able to date rock carving. And again, a lot of people call that into question. If you look at M. Dot as representing the name or the idea of Monsieur or Mister, then the rest of the word equal in simple cipher is 77, which is Rex Bacon.
Really?
Yeah. And he was Champlain. So
okay. So yeah, all right. It could be old as
so Kenyon, it's such a strange
it is. I did a whole bunch of jaking with it myself back in the day. And I came out, I did the Atbash system with it, and I came to AD Sow. So in the year of I came to AD Sow, which is in the year Lord Bacon.
Right. And Sow is
his mom, right?
His mom, yeah, Mary. Every way you look at the name Sow, it's Mary. That's really cool, man.
Yeah,
that's a great find.
Yeah, right under my feet. And it's a beautiful spot. It's on the highest point of that beautiful spot, and I'm up there all the time walking the dog. Eh?
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, I on Facebook, I love your posts. You walking out with your dog, and like you're doing the whole video thing of just walking along and just enjoying where you
Mhm.
are because
Yeah,
it's so beautiful. It's awesome.
yeah. So I don't know if I'm still. Am I still on that shared screen, or is this just my ugly mug on here?
Right now it's just your mug, but I can
Okay.
put your I can share your screen. Um, let's see. Amy is saying a large number of the population when this art was drawn couldn't read. You only
Mhm.
had to worry about people deciphering it if it places no. Yeah, would go.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah, that's
sense.
very true. That's very true in answering, her question. Jenny's asking, "Did Bacon create the Champlain moniker because of the French being in Canada, or was there some other reason?" Well, yeah, Jenny, it's such a great question. He created it, specifically because, well, frankly, he was also the French heir to the throne, and so, when Louis, I think it was the 14th, took over because Bacon's bloodline was done.
Mhm.
Louis took over, and so I think that what he wanted to do was just kind of like use basically the ciphertext state that he was going to let Louis fund his own reign in the new world, and that's what he did. He gave him a ship, he gave him the Don de Due, he gave him the fleet, let him set up the colony and oversee the fur trade, and basically he was, in charge for a while, and so yeah, I think that was the whole purpose there.
I've got a kindergarten bacon ear for that.
Oh,
See,
really?
see ham plain. See ham plain. See ham plainly. Bacon. Kindergarten bacon ear does it again.
Curtis, why didn't you point that out to
I,
me
I,
years
yeah,
ago? It's like,
yeah,
come on, man.
yeah,
You've been holding out.
yeah.
That's so good. And you look at it, and champ means, field. Lien, L hyphen AIN means eldest boy,
Hmm.
also in French. And so um, he was the eldest boy in the field. In other words, he was the eldest steward's son. Um,
So
was my interpretation. But if you see Ham plainly, well, there he is. He's bacon. Yeah, that's brilliant, man. That's so good.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Um, let's see. Yeah, John, the ascended king in New France for sure. Oh, geez. Jason started working on it already. The canoe portrait is at 31 degrees. This passed through the eye of Champlain. The angles at the center are 118 and 62. 62 is Prince. 62 is also has another meaning in symbol cipher. Jason, take a look at it. Make sure it's not off by 1 degree. I'll make that suggestion because it's when these images are scanned, oftentimes they might be off by 1 or 2 degrees.
Right, right.
Um, because if it's
I
32,
think it is actually. Yeah, it
then
does look like it's not
119,
right. Yeah.
then 119, and then uh, 61. Of course, Jason has pointed out oftentimes is the year of his birth, Bacon's birth, but it's also the value of king in reverse cipher. So just saying. And 62 is Prince indeed. It's also something else I'm not willing to disclose at this point. That it's a part of what I think. This brings us to, if you don't mind me doing this, Curtis. I just one of the criticisms that people have had about some of my work is that, well, what about saturation, Jake? All of these numbers. The more numbers you come up,
Sure.
the easier it is to identify connections. Like, oh, boom, yeah, we have bacon, you know. Um, well, you know, I want to point out that Francis Walsingham's code book, cipher book, is on display in the London Museum, and William Russell's the one that brought this to my attention. It has over 500 different numbers that have meanings.
Wow.
And I think that what all of us have started to do here is actually decrypt Francis Bacon's code book, where all of these numbers have these specific meanings. And so it's not a matter of saturation, it's a matter of communication, where we have the code book now. And when we see it, we can read it.
Mm.
And so I'm going to, and when my next book comes out, I'm going to be really happy to kind of like play that out and show you some of these values and what they mean, in particular, 62, 38, and 88 in particular, because this is one of the themes that comes out in Shakespeare's sonnets. So yeah, I'm just looking at some of these comments here. My sister Penny's telling you, hey, good one. Good catch. For sure, Pen. And my friend AO, a welcome one, have no idea of the enjoyment being hashtag team rewatch for this video. Let's go, Professor Roberts. Thanks, buddy. It's all Kurtwood here. Oh, Tom, great question. Is there any correlation between time periods of Champlain's activities and when Bacon was not active in public? Absolutely. If you look in my last book, I created a timeline, side-by-side comparison. And there was only one conflict, but technically it wasn't even a conflict. He could have been, he appeared in, I think it was in government, and he had to vote on something as Bacon. And he had been in Montreal like 28 days before. And Champlain was known to be able to make it back and forth across the Atlantic in record time. And so it's kind of a conflict, but not really. In particular, when you understand that Bacon may have had a body double. And that's all I'm willing to say at this point.
There was no cell phones, video, and everything back then. It was easy.
Not only that, it's like they didn't have, actual photography evidence, of what somebody looks like. They had paintings. And when you have the fact that, Bacon and all of his associates were actually artists, they were the ones that were painting all of these portraits that, when you look at history, they're of an unknown artist.
Right.
That's who was doing it. And John, yeah, Tower of London, always a conflict. Well, it depends on who's in charge of letting people in and out of it, isn't it? Jason Mercer, there are 5 and 11 canoes. 5 times 11 is 55, which is Francis Bacon in short cipher. Good catch, man.
I think I did all the the math on the canoes, and when you fold them, one side's, I think, with the H and the I, the totals are the so, and the C's are such.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
So I wanted to chat about what you posted a week ago or so, because it was 2 weeks ago, about the M hand signal.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And that was a good education, because it showed the layers that they've gone in their encryption, the combination lock almost. You've got the M hand signal meaning B.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Because M equals 12, was it?
Yeah. You
letter.
The cipher text stated from the plaque that we honor the B with our hands in this symbol or this position.
Yeah.
And we honor the B, or apis, Latin for B. And so when I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's an M. that's the value of 12 in simple cipher. When you add the letters to the word B in simple cipher, it's 12,
Right.
right? And so it all makes sense. And then when we look at all of these different examples of these portraits, and we see these hands in weird positions, and
Hmm.
multiple examples of the M hand position. Um, uh, my last podcast, one of the images that people wanted us to analyze was the image of Pocahontas,
Mm.
right? And in that engraving, her hand is in the M hand position. Pocahontas, from the Americas,
Yeah, yeah.
this Native American princess. Uh, and the way her name was spelled also had a very well, significant cipher value. I'll just put it that way.
Mm.
After I started looking at it, and who the people she was brought that she met with here in the Americas, and then brought her back to England. Again, have all the significant characteristics of uh, aliases.
Mm.
And so, we're looking at the operations of Francis Bacon and Sir Walter Raleigh. Uh, right here, we're starting to kind of pull back the veil of what they did.
Mm.
Um, in some of my next work, you're going to see the idea that Sir Walter Raleigh. There's a ciphertext that states that he removed the people from Roanoke and took them to Cooper's Cove.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I mean, it's just that M hand sign is just a signpost that once you start following the trail down this rabbit hole, it leads you to all of this information.
The thing I liked about it was it kind of just confirmed it. I mean, of course, if you want to hide something, you've got to have multiple layers. You gotta know one thing to know this thing to know that thing.
Yeah.
Which goes back to Bacon being the champ, be a Jake.
Yeah.
And then so Jake deciphered the Shakespeare plaque, which led that Champlain was his favorite alias. And he also said, if you want to know about the books I read while I was traveling, see my lifeboats, which these are not native canoes. I mean, these look more like lifeboats.
Mm-hmm.
And so the layers that you need to know to get to then the Man on the Moon. So I took the Man on the Moon book, and you can go online and you can read the pages out of it. Now that we know that Bacon possibly wrote that as Champlain, well, now you're taking the 3 layers as well, and you're going, okay, we got Champlain's diary.
Yep.
And it's well kept, and it's well documented. And we know where he was. We know he lost that astrolabe in Cobden. We know where he was on certain dates, even maybe the June 7th. Yep. The rock, the mystery rock, I can share the picture of that. It was June 7th, 1613. I don't know how to do that again, Jake. You got to tell me again.
You have the picture there? Pull up the picture.
I've got the website.
Oh, okay.
Can you see that?
There you go. Yeah.
You can see this webpage?
Yep.
Okay, so this is kind of cool. So Champlain is coming up to, like I said, the Chenot Dam area, which he had to portage around, obviously. And this rock was discovered in 1953. 400-year-old message from Samuel de Champlain. So this is what you can't see it. It's an old carving, but they've highlighted what it says. It's got the drop down 1 on the side, which we chatted about. We don't know what it is. I'm going to dig 1 foot deep on that left side, I think.
Right.
But so we've got Champlain. I'm going to come back here now. So we've got Champlain's diary, or whatever it is. And we've got his Man in the Moon book. I call him Champlain. We got Bacon's Champlain diaries, and we got the Man in the Moon book.
Right.
And when you go through the Man in the Moon book, knowing that this is Francis Bacon, you kind of see some things pop off the page in that book. I guess you have delved into the book. I don't know how much you want to say about the book.
No, you say whatever you found. You go ahead. You do this.
So
it's you. It's yours.
Champlain's coming up the Ottawa River, and then we have the physical note on land from him on that rock. And then we have him dropping or losing the astrolabe, which Jake has taught me that if there's a mistake, it's to be recognized, which possibly maybe he dropped it on purpose. Mm-hmm. In his diary, his math is wrong on his location, and it's noted that his geological locations are getting kind of fuzzy and he's not as precise. And then I get the Man in the Moon book involved, and I find on page whatever it was, he says in the book, in Man in the Moon, it's a lot of gibberish, that book. It's very confusing to pull together. That's why you got to pull what you want, maybe.
Right. But once you start doing the math on those pages, the mistakes in his math, you might find some cipher signatures popping up.
Right.
And just point you in that direction.
Well, the one part that I saw in the book was I forget what the old terminology he used for the measurement system they used back then, but I walked several yards or whatever the terminology was.
Was it a furlong?
It might have been.
Would have been rods, chains, or furlongs. Yeah, that's what he used.
And he says, I thrust my jewels into a hole made by a mole. And I'm going, okay. So I'm, ready to roll out to Ottawa Valley with my son because he's my only teammate here. My dad thinks I'm crazy.
Right.
And we're going to do some figuring and try to, maybe step off of that rock and head this way, whatever a furlong is. I got to Google that yet.
It's 660 feet.
There you go. I need to bring Jake.
I'm there, man. I'll come along for the
There's more to that as well.
Yeah.
There's more to it as well. I can't disclose right now because if the jewels are there, I kind of want to find them first, maybe.
Absolutely. Yes, you do. Keep it to yourself. And if you want me to ride shotgun, I'll help you. And whatever you find is yours, man. Because it's like this whole thing has led to a series of messages that and you're just confirming once again, man. It's like what I've discovered is that we do have some treasure maps here. And I can't wait to see where they lead and if we're able to find anything, but we're definitely going to follow them to see where we end up. And I think that it, even if, we turn up nothing, but we find carvings that show, hi, I was here. Like what you found there north of Ottawa. When you sent that to me, my jaw dropped because I'm like, oh, June 7th, it's 67. Holy
1613. 16 is I and is M 13?
Yes.
And then I said 67 I am, right? Instead of
I am.
I'm
Francis. Yeah. That's what it says. So, you look at all of this evidence and we keep corroborating each other's information. And I don't know. I think that even if we don't find anything at the a pot of treasure at the end of the rainbow,
it's better than drugs, Jake. It's better than drugs.
Way better than drugs, and it's way better than at the end of the day, we've created a group of like-minded people that once we've gotten to know each other, we have some friends for life, and I think that's a treasure better than anything. Looking at the chat, a lot of people are like, "Oh, we're going crazy over here." Raleigh was heavily involved with Roy. Absolutely, he was, and, he left his, mark as CRO. That's the meaning of crow, Daniel. Um, CR will be our, mark, our signature of the Rosy Cross, right? That's
Mhm.
one of their statements. Well, CR, and then you add the letter O, it totals a cipher signature of Raleigh. He left his mark. Um, Soltron, you always ask the best questions that I can't answer. Uh, you've talked a lot about F. Bacon and Raleigh. How much does Anthony Bacon figure into all of this? Anthony Bacon is central to all of the Soltron, and he's one of the most important historical figures that we really have very little information about. Um, and likewise, we have very little information about Walter Raleigh before he appears on the scene as a member of the Elizabeth's court, and it's funny how that works. Um, but I can't wait to kind of disclose what I know about all of that. So great question. And Z, as usual, you hit the nail on the head. Bacon has made no mistakes that I have found. That's for sure. He doesn't make mistakes. He leaves signposts. 100%. Oh, wow. Thanks, Ao. They're experts working in different fields who, in my opinion, are overrated in their titles. Professor, whereas you and the Ghosts of Bacon Gang stand out in blowing those academics away. Respect. Ao, thanks a lot. And I don't mean any disrespect to those academics because I mean they're doing it the hard way. They're slogging it along. They're following the academic rigor and standards that they have to professionally in order to maintain their credentials, and
Mhm.
that's not an easy thing to do. What I do is get on here every 2 or 3 weeks and just kind of show what I found, and it's like, and I throw it out there and say, hey, listen, everyone, go ahead and verify or refute,
Yeah.
uh, which is similar to what they're doing, but it's not as rigorous as what they do. But thanks, man, I appreciate that. Um, let's see. Good question, Jenny. I don't know. Wonder if the 1603 stone has any relation to the 1701 or whatever the date was stone on Oak
16.
Island.
Oh yeah. Well,
It-
Oak
it-
Island. What is that stone, Jake?
no, the HO stone.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
HO stone is June 7th as well, buddy.
yeah, yep. It was. Great question, Jenny. Good catch. Oh, John, you didn't tip me off on that. Come on, stop it. Stop your nonsense. So funny. Um, yes, Mary. What we're referring to is and yeah, you corrected colony in the next thing. CRO is carved into two or three uh,
Trees.
trees and tree trunks and logs on the Roanoke colony when they came and tried to rescue them. Uh, when you add it up, it adds up to 34, which is the name of Watt, Walter Raleigh's nickname in simple cipher. Um, 30. And then when you add it up in reverse cipher, it's 41, which is Watt in simple cipher. So he was leaving his signature that he had left. I have since uncovered a cipher a message in a map. I'm not going to say which one that states that Bacon says that Raleigh apologized for moving the colony to Cooper's Cove, but that's what he did. So again, great comments, gang. We're here. We're at the hour mark, and so Curtis, it's like I said, this is every bit as good as I knew it would be. I appreciate you coming on. We're gonna try to wrap things up. What I want to do is there anything else that you have that you want to share? I mean, I know you have some other things
Sure.
you're
We
working
could
on.
do a couple shows probably, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's just it. It's like we will.
Yeah.
I hope if
Can't
you're
do it
willing,
all at once. Yeah.
yeah, if you're willing to come on again, I want you to share some of your other stuff because it's like um, you, you're a sleeper cell. People don't know like the level of your research and the stuff that you know. I do just because you and I have talked about.
I'm always bugging you.
Yeah, well, we know we were texting and
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
talk on the phone and stuff, so I
Yeah.
know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Um, but the average person out there in Bacon Land and Oak Island land, they don't really know that you're a
Mhm.
heavy hitter when it comes to Oak Island research in particular. So um, before we wrap things up, I wanna do you want to pitch your books because
Oh,
they're awesome.
yeah.
It's-
No, yeah. My dad rides a chopper, available on Amazon, and Little Bixon's build a chopper as well. Available on Amazon everywhere.
That's awesome.
My son Wyatt's college fund, so help him out.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That
So
was fun doing those books.
well, that's just it. It's like, you look at it and gang, if you pick it up and you just, I got the first one just because after, you first reach out to me and it's like,
Mhm.
I wanted to check it. I'm like, oh my God, this is a kick. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And if I had a little kid, it's like, this is something I would want to read to him. So
Yeah, it was. It turned out a really good book.
it's
A lot of
great.
good reviews, and it came together. It was fun to do.
Oh, for
I'm,
sure.
I'm not a millionaire yet from it, but it was fun to do, buddy.
That's just it, man. We're never going to be a millionaire from our books.
No,
We have to go find that treasure.
that's right. That's right. We're working on it.
We're working at it.
Yeah.
So, um, oh, thanks, Ben. Uh, oh, John, I'm glad you like that Bacon Land. Hell yeah. Um, so, we have a lot of people. Here's another.
Thanks, Daniel. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, but, here's another heavy hitter in the research
Yeah.
world that people don't know yet, but you will. You're going to see Daniel out there. Um, just want to say, man, thanks a lot for coming on, and this was every bit as much as fun as I knew it would be. And I want to have you on again whenever you're ready, whenever you want. Just
Yeah.
give me a shout.
Maybe I could end it with a question that I've always wanted to ask you.
Awesome.
How am I going to ask you?
Ask it.
What do you think Bacon's influence to the future could be through Champlain and mapping Ontario and planting seeds? Because I grew up at 173 Stegman Road and I now live at 255 Summit Drive. So I've always wanted to ask you that. Because 173 is RC 17 and 3 and 255.
255 is B, and it's also Mary Queen of Scots. Oh, buddy. You know what? It's like this is
Could he have influenced the mapping of Ontario and so on? And then obviously, I've asked you before about the reincarnation of him, and there's just like the town I grew up in, Hall Landing, was formerly known as St. Albans, buddy.
right.
So
Yeah.
I'm just tripping.
It's like you and I have talked about this before, and I try to stay away from the whole reincarnation, woo-woo stuff.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I can't get away from the coincidences that have happened in my life,
Yeah.
and how information falls in my lap, at 1:23 or 1:11 in the afternoon. Weird coincidences that are all Baconian ciphers,
Yeah.
signatures, and so the influence he had though, um, in mapping it out and the way that he and also Walter Raleigh,
Yes.
they both named these places and spelled them in such a way as to contain their cipher signatures. That's
Mhm.
something that a lot of people don't realize. Like Acadia, that has I've talked about this on my show before, that has Francis in it. So I think there was when it comes to that aspect of it, they definitely encoded, you know, them in it. It
Well, the
but
secrets
if
they
there's like
learned were ancient secrets pulled from the past. So if you want to learn about the future, look to the past. So he's encoded secrets to entrust to us, possibly.
Yep.
And the signposts are not coincidences there for you to see. And it's, when it's your number on your house, you're going, what's going on?
Yeah, yeah. And that's just it. It's that, level of coincidences where they just keep happening and they pile up, right?
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I talk about in this work is you have to have context. And if
Right.
if it's a one-off, then,
Sure.
oh, yeah, it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
But when they keep on happening and happening and happening, I feel like it's, he has kinda become this sort of, angel who is, like, tapping us and saying, "Look, pay attention,
Mhm.
look, pay attention."
Pay attention.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of,
I've always said to you
it's
that
part of
it's
this.
almost
Go
it's
ahead.
almost as though I've always said to you, it's almost as though he's tapped into the very fabric of the universe.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
the
you
everything stems so deep.
this goes into John Edwards' work as, Bacon as an ascended master. He would have
Right.
been tapped into the very fabric, of the universe and how to kinda then shape it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, so, I try to stay away from, that sort of thing, but unfortunately, I keep getting pulled back into where I feel like he's, like, going like
Yeah.
this.
We run a fine line between that white padded room, it seems.
Yeah, well, that's just it, I you know, I don't I grew up on Route 92 as a kid, 92 is Bacon and Reverse Cipher, but I never, looking back, I don't ascribe
Mhm.
meaning to that just because,
Right.
"Oh, that's a cool coincidence, I like
Yeah.
it."
Hindsight is 2020, right?
Yeah, absolutely,
It's
and
kind of neat.
so, um but at the end of the day, it's like I have so many coincidences where things just kind of fall in my lap, and um, they coincide with Baconian numbers. It's
Mhm.
almost as though there is a disembodied I don't know, idea or force. Okay,
Mhm.
a thought force that he has created out there that's like kind of pushing us. Those of us who tune into that frequency where he's like, look here, you know. And I find that that has been a influential sort of thing at random times that where I'm not expecting it. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, or hard answer for you for that,
Yeah. That's always the question. Why, right? Why? But it does keep you asking questions and learning more. So we'll find out one day.
which is the whole purpose
I
of
think
his
so.
work.
Yeah.
Whole
Yeah.
purpose of his work. Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm not surprised you blew my mind tonight. I'm just gonna tell you.
Yeah.
Um, I'm looking at, all right, we're up past an hour here, so I'm gonna wrap things up.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull us out. Um, and there's so many great questions. Guys, it's like I have the best fans ever because they're so in tune with um uh this information, but they're also all researchers themselves, and very, very knowledgeable people. So they
Yeah.
just keep asking really awesome questions, and we could go all night. But um, Curtis, thank you for
Yeah,
joining
buddy.
me. I appreciate
Thanks
it,
for
man.
having me.
I'm gonna pull you back here into the
All right.
green room, and we'll kind of decompress here afterwards,
Sounds
real
good.
quick. And you're welcome back anytime, brother. It's like
Thanks, man.
this was a breath of fresh air, and it's like I don't know. Whenever you and I text or talk on the phone, it's like I'm like, okay, this guy gets me, I get him,
Mhm.
and
Yeah. Works. Yeah.
we just talk to each other like we've known each other forever. So,
That's right.
all right, I'm gonna pull you out, and then I'm gonna close things out. Uh, thanks for joining us, Curtis.
Thanks, man.
All right, peeps. Gonna end this session and this stream. First of all, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you as always. You guys are awesome. And till next time, be cool to people. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.